Welcome to episode 10, the big 1-0.
Yep.
10th episode of the ExtraCasual podcast. Ladies, gentlemen, and of course, all those genders with those types of endearments. These are your hosts, Gavin.
And Ashton.
And today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different to celebrate our big milestone for 10 weeks. Yeah. And this is going to be broken down into two parts, where the first part is going to be, what we normally do, just reading off different articles and giving our two cents about them.
Mm-hmm.
But our second part is going to be some questions that we kind of formulated, well, mostly Ashton formulated, that maybe you guys would like to know. And a new segment that might be recurring, Weird Dreams with Gavin, where basically I tell you guys about all the weird dreams I've been having over the past however many years.
Gavin has some weird dreams.
Yeah, weird. Anyway, so for part one, we'll be looking at Tesla drivers being forced to use bioweapon defense mode, 10 FPS games that were ahead of their time, wannabe influencers wanting to make themselves seem famous, Xbox changing their logo from Pride to Fires of Hell, and how Diablo 4 players are very unhappy with the microtransaction prices in Diablo 4.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's start off with the big one. Then you're up.
Yep, I'm starting first today. So, Tesla drivers are using bioweapon defense mode to escape wildfire smoke. So, if you've been living in the US and Canada for the past, 2 weeks, you've noticed that all of your phones and alerts are telling you bad air quality, low air quality, and seeing smoke everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
That is because our annual Canada wildfire month in season is happening, where there always seems like there's a wildfire in Canada.
Well, there's usually a wildfire somewhere else in the world.
Yeah.
And, of course, our hearts go out to anyone that might be affected.
Yeah.
It's a really unfortunate thing that, there's just some idiots that can't, be good with fire safety and understand that this could affect hundreds of thousands of people and different organisms and habitats.
Well, I'm pretty sure as of now, there are rumors floating around about how it was caused, but there is no actual, definitive answer to what caused it.
What caused it?
There is no answer to it yet.
Okay, so there's proof, just hasn't exactly been released yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that 80% of wildfires in Canada happen from lightning strikes and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just lightning gets struck in the middle of a forest, tree falls down.
Trees on fire.
Yeah, literally spreads like wildfire.
Yep. But let's get to the article. So, Tesla drivers using their bioweapon defense mode to escape wildfire smoke, and 3 Tesla models come with bioweapon defense mode using HEPA air filters and positive pressure. Tesla says you can ride out a military attack in one. The more and more I read about the Tesla stuff, just the more and more it just seems crazy.
Yeah, it's real goofy.
First it was okay, you can drive autonomously sometimes and it knows a bunch of stuff, and now I found out that there's a bioweapon defense mode in the Tesla.
So you're saying if I don't know, one of our enemies, we've been saying we live in the United States, really if nerve gas on New York, people in a Tesla will be just fine.
There'll just be a bunch of people cramming into one Tesla. Be sorry guys, I don't have the right model or update. This one isn't. This one doesn't have bioweapon defense mode.
We're all screwed.
But back to the article. Tesla owners posted video of the mode in use amid thick wildfire smoke this week. Tesla added intense air filtration of 3 of its models years ago. Drivers are once again finding them useful for unhealthy air sweeping across North America. Here's a quote. "Never thought I'd have to use this feature," one Reddit user posted in a photo. In the comments, Californians chimed in that they found it useful during the state's wildfires in recent years. Tesla bioweapon mode acts as a air-pressured buffer on top of the usual HEPA filtration, similar to the positive ventilation used in surgical facilities to keep out any pollutants.
That's some high-tech shit right there.
Yeah, that is interesting. Here's a couple more quotes. You can literally survive a military-grade biotech by sitting in your car, Tesla said, posting a chart of its data to prove it. Or did they just, like, throw a bunch of, like, toxic chemicals at it and stuff like that? And they're like, you still breathing in there, John?
Yeah. They just, like, go to, like, a military compound, they said, break out the nerve toxin, just start pouring it around the car.
Still alive in there? Yep.
Breathing, John? How's your nerve feeling? How do I know what my nerve's supposed to be feeling?
Tesla's just so weird.
Yeah. Probably doesn't help that their CEO, Mr. Elon Musk, is nuttier than a fruitcake.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Whatever works, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, people are buying Teslas. I have a game on the road with my brother and sister that we played when we're coming back from a vacation. It's called Tessie. And the point of the game is the first person to see a Tesla, they're allowed to hit somebody. But, like, so it's basically like Slug Bug, but for Tesla.
Yeah, I remember that.
But, like, sometimes people call it accidentally and think that that's a Tesla, and then there's a thing called false Tessie, where the person that hit the other person gets to hit them twice because it wasn't a Tesla.
That sounds hilarious. I remember me and my sister used to play Slug Bug, but we never actually got to hit each other. We also played this game called Score, but where it's basically that, but if we ever saw a yellow car. So if it was, it could be a Score Slug Bug.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Tesla's not the only automaker to include the air purifying HEPA filters, but they're not common. Mercedes-Benz Airbound system also uses them. And that's the end of the article, but there's other cars that I don't know that they have this.
Oh, this is military grade. And a really interesting thought came across my mind just now. What if the United States government, not petitions, but like asked Tesla to make like Tesla tanks or something like that? There's like this air filtration system. Next
Tesla is going to be making like Tesla tanks for the common people.
You see, like your average upper middle class person riding around in a Tesla tank,
just sitting on the top, just like chilling.
Yeah. I mean, if it doesn't have any like guns on it, or like maybe it just has like the main cannon with like no ammo, it might be street legal. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it just has to be within a certain size to fit on roads. But I mean, yeah, if they could pull it off, Elon, I got a new model for you.
Yeah, Tesla tank.
Yeah, we're not going by letters anymore. We're just calling it the Tesla tank.
Yeah, it's just like an M1 Abrams that's just a Tesla.
They don't even change it. It like is just like diesel or gas power, and they just put a Tesla logo on it.
Man, that'd be like the laziest new model ever. Just say, let's take this one piece of machinery that's existed for however many years and just slap a Tesla logo on it. There. Our job's done.
After years of development, we've put this logo on this tank.
Just perfectly, so no one will ever be able to tell that this whole thing is a sham.
And it's like obviously like a gas-powered tank. There's just like smoke spewing out the back of it.
Yeah.
No, it's electric.
Yeah, it's electric, man. Yeah, believe me. Although that does actually kind of make me wonder of how an electric tank would work. Yeah. Because, tanks already have batteries. Like, it's a vehicle. But, how would, like, a fully battery-powered tank work? I mean, I don't doubt that could be created sometime in, like, the next 20 years, but I'm still curious about it.
Wirelessly charged. Under the battlefield, they just have a constant charging pad for the tanks. And then they shoot electricity.
So like a Gauss cannon?
Okay, that would be kind of cool.
Sounds like a war crime to me. There's a specific thing in the Geneva Convention that like prohibits like laser like weapons.
That's good that is in place because we and others would have probably used it in war by now.
Yeah.
It's like cutting whole cities in half.
I mean, in World War II, the Germans when they're like when they're going on the Maginot Line, they used like this like massive railgun, which, you know, when you think railgun, you obviously probably think like some big laser, but it's actually just shooting like a massive like metal rod at such high speeds that it's basically a laser, but not technically. So, also, I don't think the Geneva Convention existed at that point.
It's a pseudo laser.
Yeah, basically.
The laser at home.
Yeah.
Well, that was a pretty short topic. Do you want to go to yours?
Yeah, sure. So, this is 10 FPS games that were ahead of its time. First-person shooters have gone through massive shifts and changes since its early days of their inception. But some were years ahead of their time. And the little picture it shows, I think COD 4 and I think Half-Life 2, so...
Yeah.
You know, those were a pretty big game, especially for the time. Let's see. First person. Actually, real quick, what's your favorite FPS?
I don't really have a favorite. I mean, the new Modern Warfare 2. I've been playing it with you, or I played it with you when it first came out a lot, and it was really fun.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. Like all the games I enjoy aren't really FPS.
Well, think of it. It doesn't really have to be one specific thing. All it really has to be is just, a game where you shoot things in the first person. So, like, zombies would count.
That is
let's
true.
See.
It's a zombie FPS.
Yeah, basically. I guess if you really want to be technical, Dying Light could count because it's a first-person game, and you do have access to guns in the first game.
Yeah. Then I'd probably just say like Call of Duty Cold War Zombies or something.
Really? That's
interesting. Or BO4.
Well, I think my favorite is probably Black Ops 3 Custom Zombies. Like, there's so much that people have done with like the mod tools for the PC version of Black Ops 3. That it's generally impressive, and like every like few weeks, I always like look forward to checking out the workshop to see like what new things catch my eye.
Yeah, and there's still like people are still constantly making maps,
and there are some pretty skilled individuals too. Like, there might actually be gameplay unless I didn't send you the files on the USB. But someone made a map in 1 week, and it is made pretty well. Like it's pretty small, but what can you really?
Was it like a challenge that he did?
Yeah, like 1 week development, and like there's like not Cold War, but like Black Ops 1 weapons. There's a good handful of perks, dog rounds. No, it's not really, like I said, it's not really that big, but it's really well made.
Yeah.
Which, it's impressive because this is one person. And, a lot of people say that, only a few people can do better than a AAA development studio. But,
it has hundreds of people.
Yeah. And this is one of these people. And even like the people that make like those joke maps where it's just like basically a room filled with like perks and guns and whatnot. Like those are still fun, even if they're obviously made for joke purposes.
Like the Breaking Bad map.
Yeah, the Minecraft meme tower. That's always a fun map.
And then there's like that toilet one, Dershatten.
Oh yeah. Where
it's literally just like you're in a toilet stall, and like the zombies come through one window.
Yeah. I should probably play that one. Let's see. Anyway, first-person shooters have gone through massive shifts and changes since the early days of their inception, with genre being one of the most profitable ones in the industry. that has churned out hit after hit. Well, until recently, that is. Anyway, players love this genre for satisfaction they experience after landing a headshot, going through amazing set pieces, and sheer sense of immersion they feel when they see the world through the eyes of the protagonist. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's not always just constantly shooting.
Yeah.
Let's just skip down to the first one.
Yeah. Number 1, Half-Life. So I was right about Half-Life.
Mm-hmm.
This is when most people assume good video games and stories couldn't be told without switching perspective. Half-Life twisted that notion forever. The game that featured no cutscenes whatsoever. Players could move away from NPCs while they're speaking, giving them an opportunity of following the story at their own pace, which is the reason why Half-Life is a masterpiece, with immense storytelling being revolutionary for its era. Have you played Half-Life, at least the original one?
I've played, I want to say like 3 hours into it. It's not that long of a game, but I watched Jacob play through all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think his only, not really problem, but like his only note about it that was negative was that it's an old game, so there's like old things that aren't adapted to like the modern ones, but
yeah, old game problems.
Yeah, it was just like constant. He would like need to constantly save because like an objective ahead would take all of his health away and kill him, stuff like that.
I mean, that's all games. Like, if you like go back to like back in the 90s or even the 80s in terms of games, like, and compare them to now, you can definitely see that there's a drop in like difficulty, unless you're talking about the Soul series.
Yeah. Funny thing with Half-Life though is it's like the whole stick was there's no cutscenes, there's no like you're stuck in the first person the whole entire time. It's funny that games now still have like, I'm not saying cutscenes are not supposed to be there, but it's like some games will. This game is better than some modern games, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
even though it's so old.
Yeah, in terms of like the aspect, at least.
The aspect and like the uniqueness of it.
Yeah.
Like they have, like in the first Half-Life near the start, once you get out of the long like 7-minute train section where you just have to sit there and watch, like as you're entering the research facility, there's like a group of scientists in a room, and just like the small details that you can do are super cool. Like you can like overcook a guy's like soup in a microwave and he'll like get mad at you. And like there's parts where there's little bugs on the floor, and like depending on what you do to them or like how you do it, they'll like run in certain patterns or ways.
Wow.
Just like slight details.
That's unusually dynamic for the time.
Yeah.
That's cool. Let's move on to number 2. Deus Ex. I've heard about this game, just I don't think I've ever really seen the gameplay about it.
Yeah, I've seen like the Xbox 360 one of it.
An immersive sim that is still continued to be impressive to this day. Deus Ex is a massive achievement for its time and showed what video games were all about. The title showed players pursue a wealth of playstyles to achieve their goal, making it the investment of skill points pretty tough choice every time. Players could either be extremely adept at wielding guns or find other ways to deal with enemies. Whatever path players chose, they could rest assured that Deus Ex catered their build in every meticulously designed level. That sounds cool. Like,
so it's like a skill tree.
Yeah, one of those kinds of games.
And
it seems like, I mean, there probably are like not as good skills, but at least from like what is being told from us, like just at face value, it doesn't sound like there's any like useless skills. Like at least something will come in handy at least once.
Yeah, and it's unique to different playstyles from what you just read too. It's like you don't always have to shoot; you could do other things with it too.
Yeah, Wolfenstein. All right,
this
Wolfenstein
is definitely
3
ahead of its time game.
Yeah, Wolfenstein 3D is a classic FPS game in which players go through a Nazi base, killing many enemy soldiers before eventually taking on Hitler himself in an epic showdown. Oh yeah, let's go, killing Nazis. The fast-paced and satisfying shooting gameplay paved the way for more FPS titles to enter the mainstream. What was... I forget, what came first, Wolfenstein or Doom?
I was literally about to ask the same question.
Yeah, like, it's like... They're very similar.
What came
in
first,
terms of
Doom or Wolfenstein? Oh.
Okay, one year before the original Doom.
Huh. I always thought it was the other way around.
Yeah. That's surprising. Were they made by the same people?
Yep.
I forget. Yeah, id Software. Yeah.
That would explain why they're so familiar. Or look so similar.
Depends what you want. Want to kill Nazis? You have Wolfenstein. If you want to kill demons, you have Doom.
Yep.
This is one of many titles dropped by id Software that set the foundation of the genre. As more and more FPS titles came out featuring the same gameplay, it's clear that Wolfenstein 3D had led charge in many ways.
At the end, we should try to decide which one was the most influential in our opinion.
That's a good idea. Let's see. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. After focusing on historical warfare for the longest time, Call of Duty decided to change things up with their fourth mainline entry. The end result was a legendary title called Modern Warfare, which formed a template for future games in the series to follow. Modern Warfare took a unique look at what Modern War would be like, with the game's many iconic set pieces being a blast experience in every way. Multiplayer was also a great step in the right direction that hooked many people onto this amazing series, and the rest is history. Yep. Many people consider COD 4 to be the golden age, or like at least part of the golden age.
The start of the revolution.
Yeah. Actually, that's a way better way to put it. The start of the golden age of COD.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would consider the end of the golden age to be like Black Ops 3, or even like Black Ops 2. It just kind of depends who you are.
Yeah.
Let's see. GoldenEye 007. Many people felt like consoles were not a great platform for FPS games to flourish on. This perception changed greatly with the release of GoldenEye 007, which many people know as the first FPS game to really become a massive hit on consoles. The couch multiplayer title, it was a thing of beauty at this time, allowing friends to battle against each other in some nerve-wracking firefights. There are many reasons why Rare was held to such high regards early on, and the success of GoldenEye 007 was certainly one of them. I haven't heard a lot about GoldenEye. I pretty like it has a really goofy speedrun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that involves looking at the floor a lot.
Yeah, it's like the fastest way to like get momentum or something like that.
Yeah. And apparently if you picked Oddjob, which is the shortest character in the game for multiplayer, your friends would want to kill you. Because the auto-aim would aim above Oddjob, and you'd have to manually aim down. Meanwhile, the person playing Oddjob could just start blasting.
So they shortened him, but they didn't change his hitbox.
Yeah. Well, they changed the hitbox, but they didn't change the auto-aim. Yeah. So, GoldenEye was the first multiplayer FPS.
Mm-hmm. When did it give us a date?
I want to say it's like early 90s or late 80s. 1997. Oh, that's nice.
Supposedly this franchise, the 007 franchise, is in like copyright hell right now. Because a bunch of different companies, like, they want to make another one and stuff like that, but they literally can't because of the amount of like companies that have a stranglehold on like GoldenEye. Like James Bond stuff.
I mean, they want to make another game or another movie?
I'm pretty sure at one point they were wanting to make another game and they just couldn't. And like they have a hard time like with Nintendo trying to like bring it out on their emulator service that they have now too.
Yeah. I can imagine that being really tough. Especially because, you know, the 007 series is really huge in terms of like spy thrillers, so...
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Doom is one of the most legendary FPS titles ever made. The simple act of killing demons being a blast courtesy of the title's presentation. The music is iconic. The various demons in the game are pretty challenging, and yet fun to defeat in their own way. The custom levels of Doom added the title's replayability, and the fact that this game still is being modded to this day is a testament of how beloved the game really is. No kidding. People managed to find out how to run this thing on a light bulb.
Well, it's being modded gameplay-wise and modded into birth control with the readers.
Yeah, well, not birth control, but pregnancy. But yeah, whatever.
Pregnancy.
Many fans attribute this title to being a major reason why the FPS genre caught on, which is no major feat.
And then it came back in 2016, or it didn't just come back. 2016 was like a major relaunch of it.
Yeah, well, it was like a soft reboot where it still carried over like the story of the original Doom, but in a very different way, which kind of was brought on by Eternal. But yeah,
it's kind of funny that when this first came out, people are saying it was too violent, too gruesome.
Yeah, now you look at Doom now,
and then
like part of like the main combat loop is really like decimating enemies in like these cruel, awesome ways with glory kills.
Mm-hmm. Like when 2016 came out, there was like the videos of like the moms playing it, and they're like executing a demon. They're like, "Oh my god!" They're like, "That's just too violent."
I remember in Eternal, there's this demon called Whiplash. One of the glory kills is you literally cut into 3 separate pieces, and it's just dead. Okay, number 7, Half-Life 2. Alright, so it was on this list. Half-Life was revolutionary in its own right, but what the second game brought to the table was a class of its own, integrating a proper physics system, that was both used in combat and puzzle solving. Half-Life 2 is a masterpiece in every way. The physics system is still mind-blowing to this day, with very few games coming close to complex systems used in Half-Life 2. It's easy to see why so many people were clamoring for a new Half-Life game, given how incredible the experience of playing through this perfect sequel was. Oh yeah, I was going to say this when we were going over Half-Life 1, but Valve, we're still waiting. Give us Half-Life 3.
It feels like every single time they make a Half-Life game, it has to break a new boundary of something.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Half-Life Alyx was, VR, right?
Yeah, that was a new boundary for the series. Like, the first one was a boundary in, like, storytelling and, like, proving that FPS games can be storytelling. The second game had a really intense and, like, cool physics system, which is the physics system in Gary's mod. If people don't know, they probably know. The, what is it called?
What's what called?
The physics system in, there's a name for it.
I don't know. Like, if you're talking, like, in terms of, like, bodies and, like, ragdoll, but I know that's not what you're talking about.
Valve Gary's mod. I completely butchered typing. Physics system name. Source engine. That's what it's called. The Source engine.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah, all its games run on it. Half-Life 2, Team Fortress 2, CS:GO. Yeah.
Such a unique engine that, like, the original Source engine was used, for example, it was used to develop and is like a fork. So a fork is like, it took most of the stuff from the engine to make Titanfall 2. So if you just think of that, Half-Life 2's engine was used to help make Titanfall's 2 engine.
Yeah, well, I think you mean Team Fortress 2.
No, Titanfall.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. That's interesting.
It also helped with TF2 though. Or not helped, it is.
Yeah. Because Team Fortress 2 was a fan mod of Half-Life 2, right? Like, it started out like that?
I think it was You're thinking of the first Team Fortress game.
Oh, okay.
And the I think it was Half-Life PvP or something, because I have a Quake PvP in the original Half-Life.
Okay.
But it was a custom game mode that eventually turned into an actual game, and then it got a second one.
Yeah. A sequel that's been around for 15 years.
Still very much loved.
Uh-huh. And has outlived many quote-unquote Team Fortress 2 killers.
Competitors. Mm-hmm. If you could even call them that.
Yeah. So let's see. System Shock 2. The first System Shock game was great in its own way, but there's no denying that the game's infrastructure and controls were quite convoluted and haven't really aged well either. However, System Shock 2 is a completely different way. Combination of survival horror, RPG, and FPS elements in this unnerving game was a massive achievement that has held it up in many ways. The game was considered a spiritual predecessor for BioShock, which is proof enough to how revolutionary the game really was for its time. So, if it's being compared to BioShock, I played all three of them, 1, 2, and Infinite, and the DLC that comes, and the story DLC that comes with the Ladder of the 2. Or Ladder 2, should I say. Sounds interesting.
I've heard about this game.
Trespasser Jurassic Park. I have not. So, what do you know about it?
Before I read it, I've just heard that it's extreme. For its time, it was extremely revolutionary. Just how it was and all that. Compared to the more recent Jurassic Park games, this one is just still better in some people's eyes.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be a code of nostalgia, but who knows? Maybe this just really is better. Trespasser Jurassic Park is a game whose ambitions were too big for the time, trying to integrate everything from minimalistic HUD to a groundbreaking physics system. Trespasser bit off more than it could chew and ended up buckling under its own weight of expectation. Despite the game's apparent failure, Trespasser has been quoted by many high-profile developers as an inspiration for their own games. Game used audio logs to tell its story as well, which is an idea that several other titles have replicated since. Trust me, we know about audio files.
Yeah.
Wow. So, despite this game failing on launch, it kind of...
Well, failing to meet its own expectations.
It still, managed to leave an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Perfect Dark. I have heard of this game, and let's see. I just need to read this little first part off. If the GoldenEye 007 served as a prototype for what console shooters could achieve, then Perfect Dark had honed the concept to a T. Alright. If I remember correctly, I think Perfect Dark is basically GoldenEye, but with not like demons, but kind of like horrors of the urban legend horrors. Kind of, or something like that. Or I'm thinking of something completely different.
I don't know. I think it's basically another GoldenEye, like a basic enemy game.
Yeah.
Basic just meaning government or enemy, other country fighting against them type game.
Yeah, enemy factions and whatnot.
Yeah.
Let's see. Weapons had alternate firing modes, and the reload animations were pretty neat. Of course, multiplayer, social, again. Perfect Dark allowed players several customization aspects of the game's gameplay, ranging from behavior of AI to type of weapons used in the game. So, kind of like custom games.
The OG custom games.
Yeah. Alright.
So we got Perfect Dark, Trespasser, System Shock,
Half-Life 2, Doom, GoldenEye 007,
COD 4, Wolfenstein,
Deus Ex, and Half-Life 1. Okay, so I'm actually still trying to think of what impacted the FPS genre the most. So if you have an answer, then you can go first of what and why.
I'm gonna go with probably one of the first, not the first, because Wolfenstein was the first FPS by id. I'm gonna go with Doom.
Really?
It's funny that at the time it just gets extra points for being at the time. They were like, oh my god, it's too gruesome, and then it came back a second time later and showed that it was more gruesome than the first game.
Well, this is also during the time of heavy
Satanism panic.
Yeah, the Satanism panic. Like, in terms of, like, that kind of, like, died off a lot in, like, the later 90s, and hell, even at this point where this game was released, it was kind of dying off. But, like, in the 80s, especially with, like, rock and roll and Dungeons and Dragons, like, the whole, like, Satanism panic was, like, full steam. Like, you could call someone a Satanist and people would fear them just in the same way that you could call someone a communist, people would fear them in the 50s.
Yeah. Now you call them a Twitter user now and they're feared.
Nah. If you call them a Twitter user, they'll just get pissed off and people, they'll just fade into obscurity.
They'll dox you.
Oh no. Let's see. For me, I'd have to say Half-Life 2. Because, like, it was the foundation for a lot of things. Like it was made using the original Source, like, engine, right? So many other games used that, even to this day. Like, CSGO uses Source. Team Fortress 2, that uses Source. They used the physics engine that was in Half-Life 2. Mm-hmm. And it really just shows that, you know, games like those with good building blocks can easily be immortalized. Yeah. And, like, even, like, when the unfortunate day that CSGO and TF2 die off, those games will go down the history books. Mm-hmm. Just for being that memorable and surviving that long. Yeah.
And it's just like Gary's Mod. Literally, these games, so the way Gary's Mod works with these games is if you have Half-Life 2 installed and Gary's Mod will literally take some of the assets out of the files of Half-Life 2 and use them on Gary's Mod. Like, yeah. It shows how compatible and, like, flexible they are.
Yeah, it does that with TF2 also, because it's on Source. Mm-hmm. And I think even CSGO as well.
Probably.
Yeah, and of course you can always download your own, like, skins and whatnot. In fact, I guess as a little bit of a side note, I remember I watched, I got a couple people play a game called Trouble in Terrorist Town, which is basically Among Us, but you're allowed to, like, shoot whoever you want. And one of the custom weapons was
Among Us.
Yeah, one of the custom weapons was a Waluigi launcher, where you'd like have Waluigi up on your arm, and whenever you shoot him, it would do that whang, and like flying towards your target and explode. There's also the John Cena gun, where every time you shoot it, the John Cena theme plays.
And his name is John Cena.
Do 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 do. The Thomas the Tank Engine gun. I'm just saying gun because I'm not actually sure if what they are. But I used to have bing, 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 bong thing. Yeah. It's great. And of course, there's always Prop Hunt too.
Yeah, there's so many game modes out of... Prop Hunt's probably the most popular one in Gary's Mod.
Well, it probably helps that for like a few really big YouTubers, including Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, like made gameplay videos on them, and they blew up significantly.
Because it's just really funny seeing people running around as a plant, like taunting hunters.
Yeah. I still think that some of my favorite episodes were the Bonercast saga.
I don't know anything about that, and it sounds extremely interesting.
Basically, they kind of have like a mock podcast where, like, they all kind of like play like characters. I guess like someone will call in and one will be like, hey, "Welcome to the Bonercast. What's your boner question?" And they just talk about something related to boners. It's really stupid, but it's really funny.
Sounds like something I would have enjoyed when I was like 14.
And you could probably still enjoy it now.
Probably.
Yeah. Well. I think that's it for this topic. Let's move on to yours.
Yep. You got wannabe influencer brothers are accused of creating an entire fake paparazzi channel to make themselves seem more famous than they actually are. What a handful of an article title.
Yeah. Well, it's a time of mass surveillance, but at this point, it's kind of done to themselves, so...
I'm looking at an image right now, And the TikTok account is at Hollywood Paparazzi.
That's the dumbest name ever.
And then the news article is singer Justin Bieber spotted with Instagram influencer Ryan Hosla.
I've never heard of that man in my life.
I'm assuming that's the person faking the paparazzi.
Yeah.
See, influencers Ryan and Sammy Hosla have an entire paparazzi TikTok devoted to them. The brothers are seemingly hounded by paparazzi 24/7 and parrot to have millions of Instagram fans. But you've never heard of them, and most people haven't either. Yep.
Yes, that's about right.
You've probably never heard of the Hosla brothers. Neither had I. Neither of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Neither had YouTuber Danny Gonzalez when he came across a TikTok page, Hollywood Paparazzi, which seemed to be single-mindedly devoted to chronicling the paparazzi's obsession with the apparently very famous Sammy and David Hosla. So you're telling me the account was named Hollywood Paparazzi, but they're only stalking these two brothers?
Well, no, I don't know.
I would have named it, if I were running the account, I would have named it something more specific to them, because it was solely about them.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Hosla stalking group paparazzi. There we go. Wait, I have an even easier one. The Hosla Hollywood Paparazzi. That just makes more sense than just Hollywood Paparazzi.
Yeah, well, stuff like this allows them to get their name out a lot more. So
true. This is probably helping them, this article. Because it's press, and it doesn't matter if it's good or bad, it's still going to help them.
Yeah. I just have to have the mentality of all press is good press. Because this is basically what we're giving them.
Yeah.
Alright, well, let's make fun of them a little bit. Alright, how stupid do you have to be to really think that this stuff would work?
I don't know. Maybe. Do you want, I'm going to make one of these for us, Gavin. Oh, dang it. I'm going to censor that out. We should censor out their names, too.
Yeah, we could.
I'm not putting that much time into removing people's names over some fake paparazzi.
Yeah. I mean, I'm reading a little bit past the article. They only have 43,000 followers, which isn't a lot, especially for TikTok, where people are so brain-rotted that they'll click a follow button if they even like it just a little bit.
Well, yeah, views are so... Not really followers, but views are so easy to get on TikTok and, any short-form content videos. Yeah, they're,
I remember hearing a statement that they're inflated because you don't actually have to put any time into it. If you even see it for a second, that counts as a view.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure there is... I'm pretty sure on TikTok, I don't know about YouTube, it only counts as a view if you watch the full video. It loops back to the start, then that counts as one view.
Well, that's how it is for YouTube. That's what I know.
But, for example, I just made a TikTok ExtraCasual podcast account. I posted a video, and it has, pretty sure as of now, 600 views. I literally just made it and uploaded it that day, the account and the video. God damn it, it's doing it again.
It might actually be me.
No! Gavin,
okay,
stop installing your video games.
What do you mean stop installing? I'm not installing anything.
He definitely was.
No, I'm not.
Okay. I think we kind of basically went through it as... I mean, in some way, you gotta admire them for being this devoted. They had to get friends, pretend to be paparazzi for them. I saw a video, this guy, basically, he paid a bunch of money to, walk around, and he just paid for paparazzi, so then, he just made it feel like he was famous and stuff like that. He was, signing autographs. It was super cool. Let's see... read a little bit more. There are also SammyHasselett.fanclub and RyanHasselett.fanclub accounts that reposted these videos across TikTok. Both have few followers. For the record, both Hasselets have more than 4 million Instagram followers at this point. Wow. Though there's also something fishy here. In July 2022, Ryan Hasselett gained 1.4 million followers. And then in September that same year, lost more than 708,000 followers, according to social media analytics tracker Social Blade, which could indicate that Hasselett is buying followers.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like botting me.
Followers? Did you not pay and then they unfollowed him?
I guess.
Or just the accounts got deactivated because they were bots?
Yeah. I mean,
that's probably what happened.
I guess what they're doing could work. I mean, Travis Scott, his record label or his manager said, hey, buy some botted followers for SoundCloud or iTunes, Spotify or whatever. It'll help you blow up, and it did. It helped him blow up a lot.
Yep. It is one way to jumpstart a career, but at the same time, it's kind of a sketchy,
scummy
way to start it. But do you want me to go on to my next topic?
Yeah, sure. Looking at time,
we can go as long as we want.
Yeah, I suppose, especially depending on how long part 2 is going to be.
Yeah. Okay, so we got Xbox changes Pride Month logo to Burning Fires of Hell.
I think a lot of people probably know why too.
Yeah, it's for the for people that don't know why they changed their logo to the fiery Xbox logo from the Pride one is because it was to promote their Diablo 4. But funny enough, this article doesn't mention it, but they also changed the logo once again from the fiery logo to it's a glowing, it's kind of like a glowing space themed Xbox looking logo. And that's because they have an event coming up soon, and it's supposed to be a promotion for it. But let's get into the article. I probably just described all of it.
Yeah, basically.
It's gay month, which means we all know it's illegal to be straight. Aw, darn. To appease us LGBTQ plus overlords, brands pay their respects by adopting rainbow profiled pictures until Pride Month is over, and maybe it will be enough to spare them. Maybe it will be enough for us to spare them during the revolution. Maybe.
Seems like this writer has a bit of a sense of humor. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm just reading the article.
Listen, I think everyone knows the real reason why they companies change their logos to LGBT, Pride stuff, is so people are more willing to buy their products. It's a marketing thing at the end of the day, and everyone really knows that.
Yeah, it's what's the word? Pandering?
Yeah, pandering, exactly.
I don't want to be using that in a harsh way. It's just the community, whether the company or not is actually in support or not, some of them would still take advantage of changing their logo to rainbows to just profit from it, even if they didn't support it, which is really messed up.
Yeah, that's just kind of how business works, I guess.
Yeah, they're just they don't really care about the people themselves. They just care about the amount of profit that they're seeing come in, whether it's up or down. So, back to the article. Well, Xbox either didn't get the memo or it's going through a crisis of faith right now. Because it just had the wildest profile change ever in the blink of an eye. Xbox's socials went from showing off pride flags to representing the fiery gates of hell, and it's hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
Okay, Gavin, I gotta bring this up. Have you seen the Oprah GX logo for Pride Month?
Yeah, you showed me to it yesterday.
Okay, I highly recommend, don't listen to any of this until you look it up yourself. Just look up Oprah GX Pride Month logo, or go on their Twitter and look at it. It is the funniest form of like Pride Month I've ever seen in profile pictures. So
it's pretty good.
Pause right now and go look it up, and then come back.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it, and my God, it's so funny, but it's also so stupid.
I showed somebody at my work, and they like laughed super hard, and they said that they really love that like Gen Z is starting to get into like companies now.
Yeah.
Because it's like their form of humor is just amazing. Like, you know that person that did that is definitely like not older than like 30.
Yeah. They're definitely like, I'd say they're probably like between the ages of like 18 and 25.
In Twitter, like the Oprah GX Twitter account was like, for Pride Month, they didn't just say like Happy Pride Month. Like they literally sent out a tweet in all caps, I think, that just said, "I love gay black men kissing." I gotta look this right. Look this up right now to fact check this.
Oprah GX.
Okay, so they said, here's the real Pride Month logo, and it's just the picture of the two guys kissing and then the Oprah GX logo around it.
Yeah.
Is that the only thing that they posted about it? Hold on, I gotta look in the comments. Oh god. Okay, comments. Here it is.
Fuck rainbow capitalism.
Quote Oprah GX. Fuck rainbow capitalism. I love men kissing. Oprah GX. What's HR gonna say? Quote, please remove the two black men kissing from our official branding.
No. Just two homies getting engaged. Yo.
They installed the... Okay, I'm gonna describe this one, then we get back to it. So then somebody uploaded a video under the joke that they're... Not joke, the rebranding that they did for Pride Month, and it was somebody installing Oprah. And then Oprah GX official page responded, "This motherfucker can't even install the right browser."
Uninstall, yeah.
They installed Oprah, not Oprah GX.
Idiot.
But I hope that you're back from after I told you to look up the logo, but it's
yeah,
just...
I hope so.
That form of marketing is just amazing. I'm completely off topic from what I was talking about now.
Well, LGBTQ Pride Month. It's kind of on topic. Just instead of talking about Diablo, we're talking about
Oprah
memes. Yeah, memes that Oprah GX people were putting out.
Okay, I'm gonna read a couple more lines. In the event that none of us can quite get over, Xbox's Twitter and Facebook accounts have went from repping Pride Month to promoting Diablo 4. In other words, that meant it went from a bunch of rainbow flags to the burning depths of hell. Insert some reaction from Facebook conservatives here.
They're gonna make it sound like it's a conspiracy theory. Like, I knew it. These pride people are sending our youth to hell.
I bet you some people are like that. Like, they're saying that, like, oh, Xbox changed the logo to flags and then fire. That must mean that they want to do something to the flags and they want to burn the flags. And it's like...
Well, yeah, or they mean the worst for the people of the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
it's just
it can
marketing.
be taken... Or it can be taken the complete opposite direction and have like the ultra-conservative Bible thumpers be like... I knew it. Like I said, the LGBTQ people are screwing up our youth, making us think that this stuff is okay, then sending them to hell. No, it's bastards.
Well, I'm sorry to tell both sides thinking like that. It's just marketing.
I'm not gonna tell you you're an idiot. Some of you have this book tell you you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Or whatever that one raccoon quote was.
Well... Going back to some more Diablo, you got Gavin's topic.
Yep, Diablo 4 players are already unhappy with microtransaction prices. Oh boy. No, this is a doozy. Now, remember when Actually, no, I have a better question. what is a microtransaction? Like, is it based off of price, or is it based off of what it is inside of a game?
That's a big one.
Well, normally with microtransaction, micro means small, transaction means, payment.
Yeah.
It means small payment in all real terms. So let's look at the price of these, quote, microtransactions and see how much they are. The reviews for Diablo 4 are out, and though the game is set to be a critical success, many players feel the microtransactions in its in-game shop are overpriced for a premium title. With the embargo officially lifted, the Diablo community has a much clearer picture of what to expect on the release journey in Sanctuary Beyond the Fractured Peaks. The open beta server slam for Diablo 4 have currently enticed players from a gameplay standpoint, but a major point of contention among fans has been the way for Blizzard to develop Diablo 4 monetization. Like, I assume that Diablo 4 is a full price game, right? That's like $60-$70.
Yeah. And from what I've heard, like, besides transactions and stuff, from what I've heard, people are enjoying it a lot. But there are some complaints about, like, it looking very similar to the third game. Which, I mean, it's a Diablo game. The only thing you can really do is introduce new mechanics, which people might hate, or try to increase the graphics, which the third game already looked really good.
Yeah.
So it's not like they can really improve much besides, like, adding new story and, like, new endgame stuff.
Yeah, new character abilities.
And microtransactions.
Yeah, definitely. I could make the same joke about the Apple and Epic thing that I could now, but I'm not gonna reuse jokes. Let's see. When it came to June 2022, Diablo Immortal notoriously had aggressive microtransactions. Oh yeah, like wasn't it like someone did the math and like it was upwards of like $100,000 to max out a single character?
Yeah, it was like to get like a high rarity drop out of a loot box, or to like max out a weapon. It literally took like thousands, because you could get the weapon, like the legendary weapon, but then it also had a rating. So to get the best one, you'd have to upgrade it and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure. So to get like a golden rarity weapon, and then you also have to get it up to 5 stars. Or more. I don't know how many stars it was.
Yeah. Let's see. And people are worried that Blizzard Entertainment would make a similar choice with Diablo 4, set to release a year later. By commanding the price tag for $70, $70, for the base edition of the game, coupled with a battle pass system that would cost $10 or $25 for the accelerated option that comes with an emote. Oh boy, emotes for 15 more bucks. Players were hoping the actual cosmetics would have an affordable price.
Yeah.
He already paints a difference. You go.
Speaking of the price, see, if I heard something a while ago that if they're going to increase the price of games, because, it's been the same price for a very long time, if they're going to increase the, like, average price tag for a full AAA game from $60 to $70, then they shouldn't have these, like, microtransactions and cosmetic systems.
Yeah, they're basically a way just to shell out more money from its fan base. The reality paints a different situation, as premium cosmetics in Diablo 4 cost $25 per set. $25. Like, not even 3 of those. Well, actually, a little less than 3 of those is a full. It's a full game. And that's crazy, to say the least, because like you can do a lot of things with $28, especially in the gaming space. Go on Steam with $28. You could probably find a really good indie game, like for example, Dead Cells, which is a game I've been playing like a lot recently. Like I think we've talked about that like in an earlier episode. Mm-hmm. That game cost me like $20, maybe even less. And that game is fantastic. like a lot of replayability. It can be really difficult too, especially if you put on the boss stem cells to increase the base difficulty. Yeah. Let's see. Making it even more expensive than Blizzard's free-to-play title Overwatch 2. Unlike in the Path of Exile, Diablo's free-to-play rival, the armor sets in Diablo 4 only fit one class, which makes it equally exorbitant price tag feel significantly more unfair by comparison. The image from the cash shop were shared by Ubercole on the official Diablo subreddit, prompting many to voice their complaints regarding the game's monetization. I mean, yeah, especially if it only works for one class, so...
Diablo is this is kind of off topic, but Diablo is an interesting game that I would like to try, just it's, like, not my, like, genre type of game.
Yeah. I mean, you haven't really played anything like it, right? Aside from maybe a little bit of Minecraft Dungeons, which is basically something very similar.
Yeah. Would you ever possibly try to play a Diablo game?
Sure. Just, oh no.
Prices look a little high right now.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And this might be, like, I know it says that it's only cosmetics, but I don't doubt that sometime in the near future they might bring us, like, something in terms of microtransactions where you can pay, like, X amount of dollars and get, like, some uber tier weapon or whatever.
What I think they would do is if there's, like, a certain amount of character slots that you can have, kind of like Destiny, I have a feeling they would make it so you can buy more character slots or, like, buy, like, an automatic level increase or something.
Yeah, or however Diablo works. Like we said, we've never played any of the Diablo games.
Yeah.
That being said, it is also important to remember that these items in Diablo 4 Premium Store are cosmetic only. Spending 280 platinum, which is $20, or $28. Platinums on a flashy Necromancer set will make one's means swing any faster, considering that Blizzard has gone on the record saying that players will be able to earn premium currency through the paid Battle Pass system, but not through purchase of next Battle Pass. Fans should lower their expectations on potentially saving up platinum to buy cosmetics. So basically, it's saying that even if you willing to shell out money, chances are you're not even going to get returns properly. Ultimately, the early consensus seems to be that Blizzard has developed a worthy successor to Legendary Diablo 2. From gameplay to character progression to story and atmosphere, Diablo 4 seems to have nailed the right core pillars of what makes Diablo a Diablo sequel, and will likely be a commercial success when the gates of hell open on June 6th, which has passed.
Yep.
As of recording this. However, Diablo 4 is also an expensive game with microtransaction prices that seem justified in a free-to-play title, but feel out of place in premium releases. It remains to be seen whether Diablo 4 will be an exception or the start of a new trend. I hope not.
Yeah, like battle passes, cosmetics, those are usually for free-to-play games.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
I mean,
like fully paid games, all that is usually free. Like stuff
with
that
one
you
exception.
just get.
Call of Duty. Think of it, all like the bundles and whatnot.
Well,
you can pay like oftentimes a pretty penny for one of those.
You could argue that the bundles at least are in the older games with like the Snoop Dogg bundle for Ghosts, I think, and stuff like that.
I know, but I'm talking like recently in MW2 with like the Tim the Tatman like bundle and stuff like that.
Which
that stuff.
I have another argument for that.
What?
That Warzone, people could get those without having to pay for Modern Warfare because they could play it off of Warzone.
Yeah, I guess, but there's still gonna be the same price tag attached to it.
Yeah, that would be so scummy though. If like Warzone, if you only had Warzone, they'd make you pay extra for skins.
Dude, they would totally do that.
Yeah. Just wait for the next update. I bet you they're gonna do it.
Yeah, definitely. Don't doubt it. 100% in my mind.
Well, this is the end.
Yep, end of part 1, that is. So, I guess since this is end of part 1, would you like to end off?
Indeed. Well, this is the end of part 1, and once we say goodbye, it's immediately going to be a hello right after this. So, this is Ashton.
This is Gavin,
and we will see you in part 2.
See you then.
Bye bye.
Auf Wiedersehen. Ladies, gentlemen, and of course, those genders without those types of endearments. Welcome to part 2 of episode 10.
Yep.
Now, we are going to do what we said we were going to do in the first part, including some questions that we asked ourselves, and maybe that you guys would like to know, along with, but not limited to, a segment about my goofy dreams that I've been having over the past few years, and a new game that I've been playing, and Avenged Sevenfold's new album.
Mm-hmm. You finally get to hear their review on it. Gavin's opinion.
Yeah. Ashton ain't much of a metal fan.
I've heard... So, I was re-listening to... Or I was editing the... I think it was We Love You. Like, that part where you start talking about that song, and I literally, like, pulled it up and listened to the start, and it's pretty interesting.
Alright. Might have gotten you hooked.
All I can really say is the start is interesting. I didn't really get past it.
Like the start before it kind of like the breakdown starts?
Like the part that you're talking about, how like it was cutting in and out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, anyway, let's start with the questions. Okay. Shall you lead?
You should start, and then I'll do... You ask my question, I'll ask yours.
Alright. Let's see. Okay, Ashton. How'd you get the idea for the podcast?
Okay, this just sounds so lame, but it is how I literally thought of it. Well, it's actually... So there's the start. I was planning on making this with a different friend. Didn't really work out, we just talked about it, and the next day we didn't. And then I was at work one day, and I was just, like, working, like, doing my work stuff, and I just was thinking, and I was like, you know what, I want to do that podcast, so I literally just texted Gavin. I was like, me, you, we're gonna do a podcast, and then, like, we worked out the name. For people that don't know, the name of our podcast is actually a mix of our, like, online or like aliases or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So mine is ExtraCosmos, his is Casual Kamikaze, ExtraCasual.
That's simple.
But yeah, I literally just like thought of it and just texted to him and was like, okay.
Alright.
I don't know why, but this question is gonna lead to why he said okay. That is Gavin. What made you say... You can go.
I guess real quick, if you're comfortable with sharing, who was the friend that you wanted to do this with before me?
Do you know who it is?
I don't think so.
Oh, you've heard his name before.
Just put in general.
No, I'll say it because we've talked about it before, and it didn't, like, it wasn't going to go anywhere.
Okay.
I originally made it a plan with Jacob to start a podcast. But, like I said, it was just, like, talked about once, and the next day not really talked about.
Yeah. I imagine it probably wouldn't have really been able to be done, especially at the time, because of Jacob's lack of equipment.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But now he's equipped it so we can have him on episodes.
As a guest, and who knows, maybe even as a future host.
You never know.
The thing is, if he becomes a host, are we going to have to change the name?
No. The rich extra casual.
I thought it'd be extra rich casual.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But leading on to what I was saying, Gavin, what made you say yes to my podcast idea?
I always thought it'd be fun to start a podcast, and like it'd be me, you, and Jacob, and one other person, and we just kind of just do what we do. Like,
I literally just thought of something.
What?
Do you remember when in like 6th grade, Dylan floated the idea of like we should just get a microphone and start talking on it.
Oh yeah. I guess for sake of reference, that other person is Dylan. I didn't want to say his name.
Dylan, are you okay with that?
This for the sake of anonymity, or however you pronounce it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know, like ever since we've did the Black Ops 3 Easter eggs when we still played on Xbox, like I don't know.
That's just the crew.
We are the crew.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it could have worked, like definitely with all four of us, as long as we had our schedules together. We had the equipment.
Which is the only major conflict, really.
Yeah, time and equipment and commitment.
Yeah,
like we've been doing this for 10 weeks, so obviously we're pretty committed. It's hard to tell with the other two.
It seems so much, but at the same time, it's like seems so little.
Yeah.
Hasn't felt like 10 months. Okay, back to. Yeah. I want to hear why you said yes again, because I forgot.
Because I always like the idea. I always kind of want to start a podcast. Excuse me.
You're just waiting for somebody to strike, and you just immediately pounced on it.
Yeah, I guess. I always also kind of just thought it was a pipe dream too. Like if I wanted to get into it, I wanted to get into it for the money, not really for what we're doing it for now.
Yeah, just for memories and fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we have time for it, so it's perfect.
Uh-huh. So, we're still young.
Yeah. Do you want to do the next question?
Yeah, sure. This is to both of us. For sake of reference, from here on out, the questions are going to be to the both of us.
Yeah.
What is our favorite topic, and what have we have talked about? Episode number, if we know. Well, we should, because there's only been 10 episodes.
You know, funny enough, I probably forgotten like half the things we've talked about already.
I still got them pretty secured in.
Okay, so... There's only a few that are still in my head, if you want me to go first.
Yeah, name them.
The one that I have in my head is the recent Mortal Kombat stuff that we're talking about, and the fucking get out of jail free card thing.
Oh, that's a classic. That's from the first episode.
Yep. So young and so unexperienced.
Yeah. Just like 2 months ago. Oh. 2, 3, I forget. I don't know.
Yeah. What's yours?
I don't know. My favorite has to be us going over the Avenged Sevenfold album art.
Oh, I remember that.
It allowed us to, look into, let's see the creative process kind of behind the art, and also kind of allow us to see each other's perspectives on what we saw in each album and what it could have meant.
Yeah, see other people's like perspectives on the artwork.
Yeah. Of course, I also really like the Galaxy one that we were talking about. Like, I think it's either the same episode or the episode after that.
It was the 4th.
Yeah. Where we talked about like how scientists found galaxies that shouldn't really exist yet, or at all. And I thought that was just super cool.
Yeah.
But I think my music taste edges out my cosmic curiosity.
Your music taste biased?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
This is another one for all of us. If you could have one popular person on our show, who would it be? And why?
I don't know. Like, I kind of been thinking of this, like, all over the past couple days. And, like, even I'm not really sure of it. But
let's try to narrow it down. Would it be a movie star, or would it be like an internet celebrity, like YouTuber?
I think it'd have to be an internet celebrity, just because they kind of know the medium a bit better. And I don't know, like movie stars are cool, but for some reason they seem a lot more superficial than a lot of YouTubers we could get on. Like, compare like Tom Cruise to Markiplier. Like, this is probably going to be a very weird comparison, but, like, you know, Tom Cruise, he's lived the high life, like, hundreds of times, and, you know, he's probably been in, like, a mountain full of controversies, or maybe not, I actually don't really know a whole lot about him, but he could be a very different person, like, just talking to him, like, 2-on-1, I guess, in this case, than, like, hundreds of paparazzi just swarming him, or, like, interviews that are definitely going to go public to the mainstream, so he just kind of has to make himself look as good as possible.
So what you're saying is you choose an internet celebrity over a movie star because they'd be more personal?
Yeah, well, not more personal, but more real, more down to earth.
That's true.
Because, like I said, like, the more traditional celebrity, that they have, like, yes, people around them, and they're kind of full of hot gas in that case.
Yeah.
So, I guess it would probably have to be, I'd probably say Markiplier. Like, he has, like, a lot of good stories you could probably tell. Like, he also seems very reasonable. Like, and he wouldn't probably freak out over, like, a little thing unless it's clearly, like, a bit or something.
Yeah.
Alright.
You know who I'm going to pick already.
Yeah. Let me guess. Moist Critical?
Yeah, the goddamn Charlie. Well, I should also mention that was kind of a slight or heavy inspiration for this.
Yeah.
This
official
whole
podcast.
show.
Yeah. I haven't been watching it for very long, and I only really watched the episodes that are recent and interest me, but hey, I like it.
Yeah. I've listened to almost all of them. That's what happens when you work at a job where you're able to listen to music all the time. The music gets boring, and then you start listening to podcasts.
Yeah, get that. So, why would you want Charlie on?
Okay, it would be nice to have him on, but I have a feeling I would literally just suck up to him most of the time, just because, like, it's kind of sad, but it would still be like meeting him in a way, but not in person.
Yeah.
You know, you get to have, like, your idol and, like, somebody you look up to. So it'd just be nice to, like, have him on just to hang out for an hour, talk.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know what we would talk about, but
I don't know. Like, I guess we could just talk about life.
Funny enough, I'd have a feeling that there's no way he'd ever be on, but I have a feeling if he did, he would be asking us questions, even though it's our podcast.
Honestly, I'm all for it. We could call it
first podcast.
We could call the episode the ExtraCasual Interrogation featuring Moist Critical.
What the fuck?
What?
Gavin, I can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Yeah?
Okay, what would you call it?
The ExtraCasual Interrogation featuring Moist Critical.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it? This one?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your all-time favorite game that you've played? And I have one more that I can add on to after this question, too.
Alright.
So, Gavin, what's your all-time favorite game that you've played?
It's definitely going to be a bit of a controversial pick, but I'm going to have to say Dying Light 2. In spite of all its imperfections, I just love it. Like, for me, it's just perfect. The combat is very smooth, even for someone like me that has, like, very little coordination. The parkour, I think I've talked about this in the first episode, but it's fast. And it's smooth, even though, and with the combat, it's not that good. It's not good. I'm not good. The story, I really liked it, and even though the choices you make didn't impact it that much, the choices very much impacted the world in gameplay. Like, I've played both Peacekeepers and Survivors, and I can tell a very clear difference, not only in map traversal, but, side quests, challenges around the map, and other small things like that.
I haven't picked up Dying Light 2 yet.
It's on sale.
No, how much is it on sale for?
I think it's half off for like $30.
Maybe I'll get to it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the best part, the DLC's coming out like sometime this summer, or DLC 2.
Is that the Asylum one?
Yeah. Alright, what about you? Or if you want to ask me the qualifier, so to speak.
I will say mine, because it's the most basic, and it's literally my childhood game.
Alright.
It feels like I've played nothing greater than it. It's just Terraria. The Minecraft clone.
Yeah, you cannot call Terraria a Minecraft clone.
Yep. Definitely spent more time playing Terraria than Minecraft too.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. Across all the gaming platforms, I've played it on mobile, Xbox, and now PC.
Yeah, it's just... The reason that I picked it is because, like, over the years, like, you'll play a game that you're like, oh my god, this game's so good, like, like when you were a kid, and then you try to play it again, and you're like, oh, I can't play it. But, like, I don't really feel a sense of nostalgia with Terraria. Like, it seems like it's never left me. Just feels like no matter how old I am or, like, anything, it's still something I can go back to and enjoy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the RuneScape saying where, like, you never take a break from RuneScape. They're just... Or, like, you never quit RuneScape. It's just a long break in between playing.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that saying?
Man, now you may want to make me change my answer, kind of. Because you saying that actually kind of swayed me a little.
Would you pick Terraria too?
I don't know. Like, actually, I think instead of having me solely Dying Light 2, it has to be a tie between Dying Light 2 and Terraria, because I love them both for very different reasons. Like, in terms of, like, the grit and story, and, like, I guess the speed of which you can travel, and, like, for, like, a reasonable way of travel, i.e. parkour, it has to be Dying Light 2. And, like, the medieval, yet simplistic combat, like I said, Dying Light 2. But for, like, the kind of, like, the over-the-top, like, nature of Terraria, and the fact that you're right, you know, I've never quit Terraria. I've just taken long breaks from it.
Like, you don't feel like it's an old game, like an old Pokemon game, where you're like, man, I want to play it, but, like, I know if I play it, it's going to be not as good as I remember it.
Yeah.
Still there.
Yeah. It'll never not have that nostalgia, but that nostalgia won't be there for just a reason. I know it'll be there because it is a well-crafted game. That, you know, even to this day, which unfortunately it'll be ending soon, but it's still getting good support.
Just gotta wait for Terraria 2, Gavin.
Yeah. Who knows? They might just literally bring Terraria, like, as it is, add some new features, but have, like, all the crossover stuff, like, everything up to, like, where it ends off.
I would complain like that. See, this shows how good Terraria is. I would complain if any other game did that, but if Terraria did it, I wouldn't care at all.
Yeah.
Just because it brings all the amazing stuff, like, all the, like, what is it, over hundreds of weapons and, like, over 1,000 items. It's not like you're gonna see the same weapon or whatever the whole entire game.
Yeah. It's a constant cycle where, you know, you do something, you have to swap something out, or you just gotta find that one little key piece. Yeah, it's just one hell of a game.
Well, I'm gonna ask this next question, and it's gonna be very obvious what we're both gonna say, because we've asked this question before, and what we just said. So, if you could replay any game like it's the first time you've experienced it, Gavin, what game would that be?
I actually don't know. Like, Terraria, I guess Terraria would be an obvious bet.
Okay, we can't pick Terraria.
Yeah. I also won't pick Dying Light 2. I'd say I have to be the first Dying Light.
Because I remember in Xbox days you played the shit out of that game.
I think in that game alone I have like upwards of 20 days played, I think. And of course on Steam, like I don't have nearly the amount of time, but I have basically the exact same progress because I grinded the shit out of that game, and I do not regret it for like one second.
I remember probably around like 2018, 2019, I would always go on Xbox and see who's on, and you'd always be playing Dying Light.
Yeah. I mean, I'd just be running around. Like, my favorite activity in the first Dying Light was looting, not like doing parkour or driving around in the following. I just go to certain locations where I know there's like a lot of loot and just pillage.
Hey, whatever you enjoy doing.
Yeah. Although, I did play the Night Hunter like quite a bit, which was the PvP mode, and I got pretty good. Like, I managed to beat a guy one-on-one who was Ultimate Survivor, which is the highest survivor rank possible. I was like a Widowmaker, which isn't even near the highest Night Hunter possible.
Would you say like middle ranking out of all of them?
I'd say like upper middle, definitely.
It's like 75%-ish to the top.
I'd say 70, but yeah. How about you?
Oh, so it's for sure a Pokemon game, but I'm having a hard time deciding which Pokemon game it is. Because I vividly remember playing Omega Ruby in Pokemon X and Y, but I also would want to, like, I don't remember much about Pokemon Black 2. That just seems like... John, I'm going to pick Pokemon X and Y. That game was just Mega Evolution, back when it was actually original and, like, new.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm pretty sure in that game you could get, like, a Lucario from somebody, and, like, of course everyone that got it would keep it in their party the whole entire time.
I know I did.
But, like, it was just super fun playing through that game.
Yeah.
I wish I could re-enjoy it, like, as of my mindset now, like it was my first time experiencing it.
Yeah. Be one hell of a thing.
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, Gavin.
Okay, I think we're on to the last one, right?
Yep.
Okay, what is our favorite music artist or band and album? And song if we want to go even further.
Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
I don't have an album yet because I don't have an album out yet. I think it's coming out in like July. Favorite artist, he's like a blues pop type guy that originated from hyper pop, which is a really weird subgenre. If you don't know about it, it's basically like ADHD music is the best way I can describe it. But his name is Glaive, and he's relatively new, I guess. Right now it's like 2019. That's not really new. But favorite song is Astrid, which I'm pretty sure is like his second most played song. Funny enough, his most played song is a feature on a Machine Gun Kelly song, which is actually an okay song.
Do you know what Astrid's about, or?
He does this thing where he like names. I'm assuming he names songs after girls, like girlfriends or something. But it's basically just it's like an upbeat song about a girl named Astrid, and she doesn't care what's happening. And like it's basically just like a I don't know how you describe it, like a not a love song, but like a I can't really describe it.
Well, if it's not love, then probably not romance either, because they're basically the exact same thing.
Well, it's not a love story, and it's not like a hate story. It's just like he just sings about somebody.
Sometimes it's
you'd
just
have
a
to
story.
listen to it to understand it. It's Astrid by Glaive. For if you like that type of music.
Yeah.
I think it's your turn, Gavin.
Yep. Well, it should be pretty obvious who my favorite band is. If we've only talked about them on the podcast, like...
Let me guess. Machine Gun Kelly.
No. Get that.
You just have a thing for Machine Gun Kelly to, like, hate him.
Well, it's pretty easy when he does it to himself. He insulted everyone in the, I think, metal game. Or, like, rock game. He went after the biggest rapper of all time. And, yeah. Anyway, my favorite band is Avenged Sevenfold. Like I said, we've talked about them on the podcast at least twice now.
Yep.
My favorite album, I think it has to be either Nightmare or they're self-titled. And my favorite song would have to be... Shoot, what is my favorite song? Because I've been listening through... I've been listening through City of Evil again. And I picked up 2 songs, Binded in Chains and Trashed and Scattered, and those are really good songs. I think I just gotta go with Coming Home from their Hail the King album. I've been listening to it a lot recently, and it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. The vocals are on point, the guitar is awesome, the drums are like, they are pounding, my man. And I think it's really a song about like a soldier or something who's, you know, gone so far from home, and like, you know, after their time, you know, they're coming home. That's basically how I can really describe it as.
Would you?
And
no, you finish.
Nah, you go first because I know where I'm going with mine.
I was gonna ask about the new album.
Oh yeah, that's actually where I was going. So, Life is But a Dream released June 2nd for at least everyone here in the West. And I must say, it's very different, but it's very good because honestly, I kind of expected it to. I was walking in on expecting something very City of Evil like, so kind of like the high pace like drums, like shredding guitars left and right, and like very, very like not really brutal song lyrics.
Action intense packed.
Yeah, basically. But what I got was actually pretty interesting. Like, they kind of played with like different sounds, like a synthesizer. Excuse me. Like different voice, like adjustments. A lot of different themes too. Like, I think it said like the album as a whole is like about like basically crisis in life, and it's kind of reflected on like songs like Nobody, Death especially. And like I said, I was kind of walking in expecting like something like City of Evil, but I got something kind of a lot more gentle in terms of like overall like musical tone, with like a lot of like piano, some violin.
Piano
like,
in rock music?
It's not uncommon.
Oh, I've just never heard it.
Yeah. Obviously there's still some of the more heavy stuff, but it wasn't the entire album. And I feel that difference compared to all the rest of their works is kind of what might have scared people away.
Yeah. I was originally looking at numbers, which of course, I was looking at like the Spotify numbers for plays on each song, and of course, like when I checked it, it was only 6 days since release.
So you can't really expect it to be that much.
Yeah, the numbers were eh.
Yeah.
There were like, some like sub 1 million, like 800,000.
Yeah.
But they're probably all over 1 million by now.
I don't doubt it. I mean, Nobody, I don't doubt, is definitely going to be the biggest hit. Now, because not only was it the first song that they put out from the album, but it's also like the most like some of their older stuff, I guess, so to speak.
Well, yeah, usually like the teaser always gets more plays than the whole album sometimes.
Yeah, just like how the pilot gets seen the most out of everything.
Yep.
And
So,
yeah, that's kind of it.
for the questions.
I guess, as a real note, the songs that I put in my playlist is Mattel, Nobody, We Love You, Cosmic, G, and Death.
She's a song called G.
Yeah.
Is it like it G, goes along, E, or is it just like the letter G?
It's the letter G. Because it also goes with two other songs, one named Ordinance and the other Death, which put the first three, or take G and then put the first two, spelled out God. And I think G is kind of like it's about how God created the universe, but how he didn't really try that hard in like keeping humanity stable.
This is the God diss track right here.
No, not exactly. Like one of the lines is like, on the seventh day I thought about world peace, but I decided to wash it off or something like that. Yeah. And like at the very end of the song it says, not bad for my first time, huh? Or something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's done for my my thoughts on Life is But a Dream. I might add a few more songs, but I'm gonna have to definitely go back and listen to ones I'm kind of on the fence about.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now for the segment that either everybody or no one's been waiting for. Gavin's Weird Dreams. Funny that we're talking about Life is But a Dream.
Trust me, from Gavin's Weird Dreams, there's some good ones.
Yeah. So the first I'm going to be talking about is one that I've had like maybe a week ago. Well, it's definitely after the last time we recorded because obviously we'll have stated it, but whatever. It takes place in 3 separate parts. The first part is, it starts out with, it takes place in the third person of view, where I saw myself, but it's kind of like a fantasized version where I looked like a lot more attractive than I actually am. And I was like 5 inches taller.
Damn.
Yeah. And every time I saw like something very scary, like say I saw like a very scary like picture of like some like skinwalker or something like that, rake, I don't know, like one of those like urban like monsters, he would actually start trying to hunt me.
Oh god.
And I'd have to like kind of like I could beat him, but I had to beat him in a very unconventional way where I'd have to look right at him and run straight into them.
Fuck.
Then, after like that whole ordeal, I found myself climbing in a very specific room at our school.
Could you like say the like the style of the room?
It was near where most of the science rooms are, and it was one of those rooms where, you know, with the 2 doors that lead in and out.
So it's like the science lab-ish rooms?
Yeah, kind of. But me and a few other people I did not recognize, at least I don't think I recognized, I don't really remember their faces, were climbing up like a tower of junk to escape lava, trying to kill us. Yeah, we got out, but then it transferred to somewhere else where, actually, me and you were being hunted by emo people, basically.
This is the first time I've heard this one.
Yeah, I personally made it like this. So, basically, and like there's a lot of other different things, like, I guess I'll get to that a little bit later, but they had like, you know, the dark clothing, dark hair. One was a girl. She had blue hair, but that's not really important. And they were just chasing us for like no reason. Like one was it was at like my house. I was actually really over at the neighbors, but I was like running inside. Like there's like a party going on, so I tried to disguise myself amongst the party goers. Then it went to our school, and our school was not our school. Instead, it was like a decommissioned shopping mall that was turned into a school. And like kids were having lunch in like basically what would be the plaza.
Okay, that'd be a pretty cool school.
Yeah, we saw each other, then we saw them, and we both made a break for it. Like, I went to like some like where like the technicians would normally go, or like the technician like passageways, so they're not in the way whenever they have to fix things. And like the principal was like just talking with like a couple of guys, and like they were talking about like sports or something. There's like knickknacks on his desk or something. I don't really remember. That's not really important. I don't know I'm mentioning it anyway. And then I think we went to one other place, but I don't really remember. And yeah, we were just being hunted for basically no reason. And my last dream, the last dream I had, I actually only really kind of remember bits and pieces. But basically, me and a few other people had to escape from a building, for some reason. And the one big thing I remember is that my legs were covered in ticks, but those were not normal ticks. And the fact that one of them that had latched onto me grew roughly the size of a cockroach after it attached itself. And it was like just a common wood tick. Fortunately, my dream self wouldn't have gotten like Lyme's disease. But yeah, it was like it went from like, normal tick size to cockroach size, and I didn't even notice it. Probably didn't help that earlier this year at school I was bitten by a tick when we were outside.
That's probably where it came from.
Yeah, or something.
They're haunting your dreams.
I just have a general fear of bugs. Spiders are the worst, but yeah. Well, I guess for sake of reference, the tick that bit me in real life was just a normal wood tick too. So like, I haven't found these symptoms of any other tick-borne illnesses.
This is kind of. I got a quick off-topic thing, but it just reminded me because you're mentioning ticks. Do you know that daddy longlegs aren't spiders? They're actually a form of a tick.
Really? They just evolved to have longer legs?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Or they're in, like, the tick family or something.
Tick family, they're basically ticks.
Get back on topic.
Okay. And the second part, I guess I forgot to mention this was a two-parter, was I was sitting in, like, a restaurant. My sister was there. Like, and I think some of my other family was, too. And I mentioned wanting to order a Brompton cocktail. And I looked at her saying, I know what that means, so...
I know what it means, so I can have it.
You know what a Brompton cocktail is, right?
Nope.
A Brompton cocktail is basically a mix of different narcotics and alcohol used to basically euthanize a patient.
Ah. Because
I had no idea.
Bars and dreams.
I had no idea why I wanted one of those, but for some reason I wanted one.
Dream Gavin is wild.
Well, I think the idea was she knew what it meant too, and I was just making an edgy joke, like I normally tend to do.
Just get a reaction.
Yeah, basically. And that was basically it. I mean, I guess I could probably go into one more, but we're already at 41 minutes, so...
Yep. That's the end of our topics, right?
Yeah.
Our bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, are you ready for me to outro?
Sir, yes, sir.
Well, that is the end of our 10th episode bonus. Hope you enjoyed part 2. We tried to make it more personal than our usual topics, just so people could understand some stuff.
Yeah. Our topics are usually about the world and never really about us, unless we tangent into something about us.
Yeah, in the future we could try to do a like a Q&A, I guess, or like some sort of like you bring in comments, we answer them if they're appropriate or something we should talk about.
Yeah. That won't give too much away about where we live,
who we are,
our specific addresses.
Mine definitely has a 5 at the start of it.
Yeah, so does mine.
But hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back to our normal hour-ish episodes. Possibly getting an increase now that I have a little bit more free time to edit too.
Yeah.
But other than that, this is Ashton.
And this is Gavin.
And we will see you later.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye-bye.